Today on Hearts of Heroes.
Fresh, I need you, buddy.
A raging inferno traps an elderly woman.
I saw the house completely covered in flames. There's no way there's anyone surviving in this house.
Until one brave officer risks it all.
Let's go.
Flames everywhere. Blowing out of the window, blowing out of the roof.
Plus, a vehicle malfunction leads to a heart-pounding rescue.
My son asked the car to slow down or stop, and he's going 80 miles an hour.
You hear that come across the radio, and it's, oh boy, we gotta go.
With his SUV out of control, state troopers have to use ingenuity and quick thinking to try to save a young man's life.
It really hit the reality of, like, he could die.
When lives hang in the balance, heroes are ready to leap into action.
It's important to understand that in the event of a house fire, the best thing you can do is evacuate your home as quickly as possible. But sometimes in the chaos and confusion, that's not always an option.
When an elderly woman lost consciousness in her burning home, there was no time to wait for firefighters to arrive. And that's when one heroic police officer came to the rescue.
Millburn, New Jersey is just 22 miles from New York City. And police officer Tommy Sweeney has only been with this small-town police department for less than a year.
Always wanted to be a police officer, so I went to the police academy, and I'm enjoying it since.
He may be new to the force, but this is not Tommy's only first responder experience.
I started volunteering in the fire department in 2020. This is the town I grew up in, so it's good to give back to the town that I live in.
Officer Sweeney still volunteers for the fire department, too.
I looked at it as, you know, on my time off, I could still volunteer in the community that I live in. So it's the best of both worlds.
Officer Sweeney would pull both his police and fire training out on October 17, 2024, when he had only been on the police force for a few months. Late that evening, an urgent 911 call went out to him and his fellow officers.
Call was for a structure fire. I started heading over there. I was the first one on scene. I saw a house completely on fire. Car was on fire, everything was on fire. So I called out to my dispatcher, let him know that the house was fully involved.
Officer Nassim got on the radio, explained that he's gonna try to go in and get the lady out. So I started heading that way.
I heard a call for a house that's fully engulfed in flames. At that point in time, they dispatched the FD.
Outside the burning home, Nassim was approached by a frantic woman who explained that her 88-year-old mother was somewhere inside that house.
In a fast-moving fire, smoke and flames can quickly fill a home, causing a person to lose consciousness. When that happens, there's no time to lose. Officer Nassim knew that he could not wait for backup to arrive.
That's when I grabbed my fire extinguisher. I was thinking, am I gonna be able to get in there safely? Am I gonna be able to get out?
With the front engulfed in flames, Officer Nassim ran back to the door.
Maybe this is a door I can go in. That's when the smoke and the heat hit me. I stepped back, make sure I wasn't on fire or anything. That's when Officer Frisch came.
It was completely covered in flames. There's no way there's anyone surviving in this house. I ran to the back of the house. I could feel the heat, almost felt like my hair was like singeing off. As I attempted to go in, I also took in a bunch of smoke. I backed off. At that point in time, Officer Sweeney pulled up.
I exited my patrol car and I ran towards the back of the house. It's flames everywhere. They're blowing out of the window, blowing out of the roof. Fire like that, it's just gonna spread throughout the house in minutes. If there is someone in the house, you have to get them out extremely quick.
Charlie, want him out.
Without a second thought, Sweeney's fire training kicked in.
Where at? Let's go.
I was mostly in shock that he had no hesitation whatsoever.
Where is she? Ma'am! Ma'am! Ma'am!
He didn't even stop. He was just running straight into the fire.
Coming up.
Stuff started exploding and falling off the house. The electrical lines were going down.
We were trapped in the backyard. We needed to get out of there as soon as possible.
But first, preventing house fires is crucial. But if the unthinkable happens and your home does catch fire, there is one life-saving item that could make all the difference.
Nothing is more crucial in your home than a fire extinguisher. It's your ultimate safety sidekick. But did you know that they have a limited shelf life?
Here are a few important steps to ensure that your fire extinguisher is in working order.
1. Check the pressure gauge on the top. The needle should be in the green zone, indicating adequate pressure. If it's in the red, the extinguisher needs attention. 2. To ensure proper use, be sure there is no rust or corrosion. Keep an eye out for dents and be sure that the hose isn't cracked. Finally, check the expiration date. Most extinguishers need to be replaced or serviced every 5 to 15 years.
And remember, if in doubt, don't delay. Keep your extinguisher in top-notch shape and you'll be fire ready.
In Millburn, New Jersey, 3 police officers were battling a home consumed by flames. An 88-year-old woman was trapped inside. They knew there was no time to wait for firefighters.
Myself and Officer Frisch shouted out to her, and we were able to hear just a groan.
Officer Sweeney's training as a firefighter kicked in, and thankfully, he knew exactly what to do. At that moment, he made a split-second decision.
Without even stopping, just got on his stomach and started going in. He said, let's go. As soon as he said, I'm going in, and I was like, all right, we're going in. I knew he had training. We're gonna get her out.
Obviously, you're training and your adrenaline kicks in. You're still thinking in your head, this is crazy.
Ma'am!
I entered the house. I got super low because of the heat and the smoke. I utilized my flashlight. I was able to see her in the distance. She was groaning, trying to breathe with the heavy smoke. I took a big whiff of the smoke in. I got very lightheaded. So I wanted to get out as fast as possible.
I got her, Frisch, right here!
With the circumstance of the heavy heat and smoke, pulling her and her not being able to help us, it was a struggle to get her out.
Frisch, I need you, buddy. Right there, right?
I grabbed him by the back of the vest, and I started pulling him as he was pulling her out.
Got her, we got her.
I said, Sweeney, move out of the way. I'll pick her up.
Come on. Good, let me get the feet. Good. We got it.
Once I got her to the door, I took a step out.
That's when me and Frisch went and we helped her out, and then we brought her close to the shed.
We need EMS in the back of the house immediately. All right. We got her? Take her back here.
Officer Steve Nassim, a trained EMT, started first aid.
She had second-degree burns, and I was concerned that she inhaled superheated gas, so I did give her some oxygen.
But the 3 men and their victim were still in danger.
Moments after we got her out of the house, the whole back of the house went up in flames.
Where I entered, that was all covered in fire now.
Stuff started exploding and falling off the house. The electrical lines were going down, windows were popping out. Started looking around, and I realized we have no way of getting to the front yard at this point.
We were trapped in the backyard. We were trying to strategize a way to how to exit. The other side of the house, the neighboring home, there was a big retaining wall. It was about a 10-foot drop.
Luckily, there was a gap in the fence, and that's the only way we could have got her through.
We lowered her down of the 10-foot retaining wall, and we exited through the neighboring home.
If we didn't have the gap in the fence, I don't know what we would have done at that point.
By now, firefighters had arrived, and it was nothing short of miraculous that these 3 heroes only had minor smoke inhalation. Looking at the charred remains of this house, few would imagine that anyone could make it out alive. But an elderly woman did, all thanks to the bravery of the officers and one rookie cop who didn't hesitate to put his own life on the line.
It feels amazing, you know, it's a surreal feeling to know that we saved the life for somebody else.
For their heroic efforts, the 3 officers were given the Life-Saving Award by the mayor.
Profound thanks for your heroic actions.
Being the old guy on the squad, you know, looking at the younger generation, to have that fight and drive, it makes you feel proud.
He was absolutely heroic with his actions. He didn't skip a beat, didn't hesitate to go in there. He put his own life at risk.
I think I was just doing my job. I think we all feel that way. I think we were all just doing our job.
Coming up, a vehicle malfunction leads to a heart-pounding rescue.
My son asked the car to slow down or stop, and he's going 80 miles an hour.
We're kind of running out of options here. The only thing I could think of was get in front of him and try to slow him down.
Really hit the reality of, like, he could die.
Most of us have dealt with our car breaking down. Dead batteries, an overheating engine, maybe squeaking brakes.
But a catastrophic malfunction sent a young driver hurtling down the road at over 100 miles per hour. The terrified teenager found himself helpless and unable to stop his speeding car.
The Red River is the only thing that separates Fargo, North Dakota from Minnesota. Despite the watery state line, these neighboring communities share a strong bond. Law enforcement agencies from both states frequently work hand in hand, offering mutual support whenever it's needed.
We talk on the same dispatch program, so if something happens over there and it comes over to our side or vice versa, we're willing to help each other out.
In September 2024, 17-year-old Sam Dutcher was at the mechanic picking up his family's SUV.
My car had been in the shop and had had some work done.
The car had been accelerating on its own. However, mechanics were unable to figure out what was wrong.
They've tested it. They couldn't find anything at all wrong with it and decided we had to go get it. It must be okay now.
So Sam got behind the wheel and headed home. But while driving down a long stretch of country highway, the car suddenly started speeding up by itself.
So it started accelerating, going. There was so much going through my head.
The young driver tried everything he could to slow down his vehicle, but it was a losing battle. Even though Sam had taken a number of auto repair classes, he just couldn't get the vehicle to respond.
I tried hitting the brake, nothing happened. Tried pressing the button to shift into park. Tried neutral and reverse as well, still nothing.
Sam kept his cool and called for help.
So I tried calling 911, but I was using voice commands on the car. It was telling me that number is not in my contacts. Shoot, what do I do now?
Unable to reach 911, Sam called his mom.
I think it was really surreal, and I was like, okay, I'll call 911 and let them know what's going on. I think at that point, I was thinking initially, like, okay, this will be okay.
911, what's the address of your emergency? This is going to sound absolutely crazy. My son is driving the car currently, and he is going down County 17, can't get the car to slow down or stop, and he's going about 80 miles an hour.
911 put out an emergency dispatch. By this point, Sam was barreling across the North Dakota state line toward Clay County, Minnesota.
I heard the call come out of a runaway vehicle. You hear that come across the radio, and it's, oh boy, we gotta go.
I was terrified. He could be really hurt.
Coming up.
Eventually, I caught up to him, and he was doing 113.
I started thinking like my son was probably gonna die.
But first, when you're on the road, danger can strike in the blink of an eye. Whether it's a speeding car or a motorcycle, that threat is constant. But for motorcyclists, one decision could be the key to staying safe.
For motorcycle enthusiasts, there's nothing quite like the feeling of freedom on the road. But did you know that in 2024, over 2,000 motorcycle fatalities were due to riders not wearing helmets?
It is always important to wear your helmet. In fact, it is a law in all but 3 states. Plus, helmet technology has come a long way. Built-in rear-view cameras, emergency response transmitters, and upgraded impact protection are available today.
Safe biking is smart biking. Always stay protected, alert, and aware.
Minnesota high school student Sam Dutcher was driving his family's car down a long stretch of country highway when the vehicle suddenly malfunctioned. It started accelerating on its own to dangerous speeds. Minnesota State Trooper Zach Grover heard the 911 call and started chasing the SUV in his patrol car.
I was doing about 140 to try to catch up. Things are coming up a lot quicker than people anticipate.
Sheriff Deputy Zach Johnson also heard the call, but he was too far away to join in the pursuit, which by now was hitting speeds of more than 100 miles per hour.
Since I can't physically catch up to that vehicle, I might as well try and talk to him on the phone.
All right, Sam, so I'm gonna kind of walk you through some troubleshooting here. You've tried shifting to neutral, putting it in park. Can you shut the car off?
Yeah, if I tried the e-brake.
That isn't working.
Telling me hit the brake.
None of those things were working for us.
Deputy Johnson stayed on the phone with Sam as sheriffs and state troopers tried to catch up with the out-of-control SUV.
If we can't physically make this car stop, what could we do?
The original plan was to try to get in front of the vehicle and put a tire deflation device down.
These devices are known as stop sticks.
It's a plastic triangle with tubes basically inside of it, and those tubes will puncture the tire and then let air out of the tire.
Deputy Dizitel was coming from the north part of our county trying to intercept this car.
I was going to try to get over to one of our major intersections and realized they were already past that intersection.
This car's going a lot faster than they said it was. Eventually, I caught up to him, activated my radar, and he was doing 113.
Sam's car was now hurtling into the town of Hitterdal.
In Hitterdal, it drops down to 30 miles an hour. I needed to get up there so cars didn't get T-boned by a car doing 113.
He was super lucky. There was no one around, and he made it through.
The race was on again to try to catch up.
By this point, officers realized that the stop sticks were not going to be an option.
I don't know if I have enough time to get far enough ahead of him and get those deployed on the road before he's going to pass me.
Meanwhile, Sam's mom, Catherine, was in constant contact with 911, frantically trying to get information.
I was terrified, as well as feeling really guilty that I shouldn't have put my kid in that car. It really hit the reality of he could be really hurt. He could die.
State Trooper Grover and Sheriff Deputy DeSaddle were now gaining on Sam's car.
It takes a long time to catch up to a car at 113 miles an hour.
Suddenly, things went from bad to worse.
Deputy Desitel got on the radio and said, hey, this road tees in a couple miles.
With the car barreling straight for a dead-end road, Officer Groover needed to come up with a rescue plan quick.
The only thing I could think of was get in front of him and try to slow him down.
Sheriff Deputy Zach Johnson relayed the plan to Sam.
I said, we need to stop your car.
We're kind of running out of road here, so what I need you to do is I need you to crash into the back of his car.
Hey! So you want me to hit the back of your cop car? And the answer was yes.
Once I got in front of him, the collision mitigation system was not letting him hit me.
Collision mitigation helps prevent accidents by automatically steering the vehicle away from oncoming obstacles.
I got back in front of him again, and Deputy Desitel was able to get up next to him and keep the car from going into the oncoming lane of traffic.
With Sam's car boxed in between the patrol cars, they braced for impact.
It happened pretty quickly.
It was quite the jolt. The adrenaline was definitely pumping.
Hold him. The car did start spinning its tires, which made us a little bit nervous.
Car stop.
But we were able to get him out.
I didn't feel so calm after I got out of the car.
Oh, that hit hard. I put my hands up and you can see my hands are shaking.
It was slowing down, and then it wasn't.
He was just kind of standing there just like, did this really just happen?
You see this on movies, but is it ever going to happen in real life? It's one of those things where this is real life. It happened.
Honestly, I was kind of in shock.
Rattled but uninjured, Sam went home to his appreciative family.
I don't know that there's any degree of gratitude. I'm forever gonna be grateful for them.
Of course, it's all thanks to the bravery of the officers who put their own lives on the line to save that young man in need.
Hey, Sam, how's it going?
Good, you?
Doing well.
Remember, you were pretty cool, calm, and collected afterwards. You seemed pretty relieved.
I was relieved that it stopped.
Sam stayed calm and was able to just work through it.
I think that communication between him and Deputy Johnson was also able to keep him calm. But for an 18-year-old to stay as calm as he was, that's unreal.
I appreciate everything that you guys did to put your lives on the line to save my son, and it's just incredible, amazing. I can't ever thank you enough.
You're welcome.
Truly don't think I'd be sitting here right now. Thank you so much.
It's not all the time that things end as well as they do. So the fact that we were able to get to him before he just went off the road, it felt really good.
Trooper Groover put that car in front of another car going 113, not knowing it was going to slow down, is just amazing.
I did my job. I did what any other deputy or trooper or city officer would have done.
No two rescues are alike, which is why first responders must rely on training, instinct, and in some cases, out-of-the-box thinking.
It's that combination of preparation and improvisation that leads to so many of these incredible rescues, and our hats go off to these brave heroes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Hearts of Heroes.